Good afternoon. I'm Shelby Sutton here at the Sutton File. Today I will be interviewing Dr. Victoria Hoven, who is an advanced European history professor at Harvard University.
Thank you, Shelby.
Dr. Hoven, what do you believe was the main cause for the fall of Rome?
Where do I begin? Rome fell for a many variety of reasons. Rome became so evil that a man was not considered safe unless he was wicked. He had to defend himself. He could no longer do that by simply trusting his neighbors and leaders. Since the government was divided, how are you supposed to hunt? Also, the barbarians were attacking constantly and relentlessly on all borders of Rome, which in conclusion left the military stretched and too thin.
Edward Gibbon's work on the fall of Rome, he makes some controversial statements, such as saying Christianity was the main reason it fell. Do you agree?
Yes, I believe that it played an important role in weakening Rome, but I don't think that was the main cause. In one of my works, I talk about the effect of Christianity and how the Romans were too focused on becoming a better Christian rather than saving their country.
What do you think was the societal role of rich people in Rome?
Well, the wealthy Roman citizens didn't care for Roman morals and needs. They only wanted to party and become richer. The rich realized that their country was falling, so they indulged into as much worldly things as possible. All in all, they didn't contribute to society because they were just lazy.
Were you surprised that Rome fell? Do you think the people of Rome were surprised?
All great nations eventually have to fall, and no citizens would actually think about it. No resident saw it coming, but since Rome had stretched so far, it eventually had to climb.
Why do you think Rome split in two and became the East and the West?
The empire had become too large to be controlled by one ruler, so Leo I was the first Eastern emperor to be crowned by the Patriarch of Constantinople.
In any way that modern America relates to the fall of Rome?
Yes, continuous war is a perfect example. A national state of security arises to distract attention from domestic challenges with foreign wars. Similar to the late Roman Republic, the U.S. for the past 100 years has either been fighting a war, recovering from war, or preparing for a new war. For example, World Wars I and II, the Cold War, the Korean War, Vietnam, Gulf War, Afghanistan, Iraq. There's so many wars that could just go on and on about this. There has also been a collapse of the middle class. In the period just before the Roman Republic's fall, the Roman middle class was destroyed by cheap overseas slave labor. In our own day, we've witnessed rising income and the loss of American jobs from immigrant workers who are paid less and have fewer to no rights.
Do you believe America will fall just like Rome fell?
Yes, and I believe the main cause of that is our unsustainable debt. By 2020, projections indicate that we need 20% of the GDP of the entire planet just to finance our debt, which will continue to increase at a rapid pace. Another reason is moral decay. It is highly ironic that the Americans have pushed Christianity to the side and embraced, and if it feels good, not only is it okay to do it, but other people should celebrate it for you. Mentally, at the very moment, America is being decimated by a profound moral crisis. It's no coincidence that America has the largest prison population in the world. Drug use is rampant, 41% of births are out of wedlock, and mass murders have become all too common in a Christian nation that has turned back on God.
What were some of the results from the fall of Rome?
Well, there was an immediate period of disorder and a weak central government. After this time, there was a renewed interest in education and the arts. You can definitely see an increase in trade and manufacturing, though, along with the growth of cities and dominance by the middle class.
Why did the Romans view the Germanic tribes as barbaric? In my opinion, they were not as barbaric as the Romans. What do you think?
Well, I think that it's definitely a perspective issue. The Romans had a worldview where the highest and most esteemed country. However, in other people's eyes, the Romans were extremely rough and cruel. They were chopping people's heads off. But the Romans saw the Germanic tribes as uncivilized and therefore lesser than themselves. All in all, this is a metal worldview and perspective.
In your opinion, who were the worst emperors or Caesars?
Well, for that time, I'd say Nero was one of the worst. He crucified Christians upside down on a cross. Also, he burned down Rome and blamed it on the Christians just so he could build himself a new palace. So he was terribly brutal to them. Also, another one, not because he himself was bad. I just think his ambitions took over, and he became very pompous, and that was Julius Caesar. He became so arrogant and so puffed up that he was part of the Council of Rome, that everyone viewed him as so great. So when he saw that, he started to give them parties so they'd love him more and more, and sooner or later it was just for the fame, not for the benefit of Rome.
Thanks for watching. For more videos, visit our website www.thesuttonfile.com.
She asked me, son, when I grow old, will you buy me a house of